Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's March 4th, 2017. I want to take a moment to cover a story from this past summer, the summer of 2016. It was a popular story at the time it happened. It was a mainstream headline that a conspiracy researcher had dropped dead at age 39. They said his name was Max Spiers. What I found interesting at the time was how many people acted as if they were really familiar with Max Spiers and how important this loss was. And I personally, I'd never heard of Max Spiers. And when I checked into his research that was available online, I kind of just grinned and turned it off very quickly. You can watch his most popular speech that he gave, which was April 23rd, 2016, not long before his death. He begins the speech by talking about how reptilians rule the world, and the signs of reptilians are divide and conquer and using mechanisms of fear. And just that kind of stuff just makes me grin. I mean, whenever I hear reptilians, I just turn off the source. I don't mean to sound closed minded, but to me, it's just all bullshit and nonsense and disinformation and distraction meant to make people who actually research truth look ridiculous. The people who run this world and who run the media are the Zionist Jews. They run the world on divide and conquer. They run the world with fear. You see a lot of these, more popular truth channels, they'll never speak against Zionism, but they'll say things like reptilians and shapeshifters. That's what Max Spiers was about. And what I suspect most of these people are is paid for disinfo. When you watch the Max Spiers speech, he seems very uncomfortable. He doesn't seem confident in his own research, and rightfully so. I'd feel ridiculous if I was on the stage saying that shapeshifters are running the world and the leading sign of shapeshifters is divide and conquer. Divide and conquer is the Masonic motto. Freemasons are real. Zionists are real. Nobody in their life has ever seen a shapeshifter. You know? The reason I do my research is because I used to look at the truth community before I was a part of it, if you will. And I used to just look and think, God, the truth community, the conspiracy theory community is just full of bullshit. People just talking about nonsense. We need some real facts. We need some real knowledge. We need stuff that people can verify. You know? We got people like Max Spiers blaming 9/11 on the shapeshifters. So anyway, let's look at the death of Max Spiers. I'm pretty sure that Max Spiers is just a made-up name for this story that they put out last summer. A story that scared a lot of the truth community because a lot of people started making videos like, look, they could just kill us any day. They could off any of us. That's the fear they want you to have. The Zionists create this story. The Zionists create this Max Spiers character to make conspiracy researchers look ridiculous, except for the ones that are already researching and are ridiculous. So many channels like this on YouTube. They won't teach you about Gematria or things that are real. They'll teach you about nonsense. Fill your head with bullshit. So look, this guy was 39 years old, right? And he talked a lot about black magic. We'll talk about magic and 39 and the occult. But look, he died at age 39 on July 16th, 2016, which was a date with 39 numerology. And not only that, but that date's written 16/7 in most parts of the world, July 16th. That's the 39th prime number, 167. 16/7, 167, the 39th prime. The day he died at age 39. He talked about black magic. What I have shown you guys countless times is the real magic of this world is the way the Zionists run the world. Ongoing propaganda by the numbers, controlling the minds of the masses, making them believe nonsense. Notice the name Max Spiers has 119 coded into it. Favorite number of the Zionists, All-Seeing Eye 119, Star of David, Master Plan, Foundation, and more. With regards to 39, the Zionist Jews go by the 39 books in the Old Testament. The word pagan has gematria of 39, so does Wicca, so does witches. We just talked about The Wizard of Oz last weekend, the movie that was released in 39, which has a lot to do with, the type of magic the Zionists perform. Intimidation through screens, like in The Wizard of Oz. The date Max Spiers also reportedly died was a date with 59 numerology, the kill number in Jewish Gematria. Killing the character, I would assume. I'm sure Max Spiers is just fine, and I'm sure Max Spiers is back to his regular name. I would imagine that there's no such thing as Max Spiers. Well, other than the made-up character for this planned story. He was reportedly born in 1976 on December 22nd, just after the winter solstice. His research, it focused on black magic. The word magic with a K on the end is another way to represent black magic. That's tied in with Thelema, the occult religion that has a lot to do with Zionist Israel. Remember, Thelema equals 64, Israel equals 64, Zion equals 64. The motto of Thelema is do what thou wilt, which equals 64. Just like Synagogue of Satan, the name for the false Jews from Revelation, based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. Everything about Zionist Israel was created around the number 93. And in Thelema, they worship 93. They say hello by saying 93, and they say goodbye by saying 93. The word magic with a K has Gematria 44 and in reverse ordinal 118. These are numbers of death. They show up again and again around routine killing, 44 and 118. Magic with the K has this Gematria. We saw the death of Prince on the 44th parallel, the 93rd meridian, in an elevator, which has Gematria of 118. Prince's full name has Gematria of 118. I pointed out in February of 2016 we would likely read about the death of Prince soon after the death of his former girlfriend Vanity, who died by those exact numbers. Same numbers we're looking at on the screen. Words such as kill and execution have Gematria of 44. Death 118. Should mention that the name Max has Gematria of 38, another number of death and killing, big number in the death of Prince as well. So he reportedly died in Poland. They said he died from natural causes, but were uncertain what those causes were. His girlfriend and mother said he puked up a lot of black stuff at the time of his death. What I wonder is if he was drinking. For any of us who've ever drank a lot on an empty stomach, you might have seen the black puke before. I did it when I was 18. 18, inexperienced with alcohol. I drank almost 2 full fifths after eating nothing, and I puked just straight black. My mother thought I was going to die. But anyhow, there's a few more things that are interesting here. I do got to mention it was the Canterbury coroners who could not come up with the exact cause of death. The CC, the 33, like Masonry. But here they get down into Max's beliefs. Some of his beliefs are right. He believes the New World Order is running the world, but how does he ruin his correct theory? By saying that they're shapeshifters, instead of saying what they really are. There's a reason David Icke is so popular. How do you become popular as a conspiracy researcher or truth speaker? You can only become popular if the media that runs the show puts out your name, as they will with people such as David Icke and here Max Spiers. The only way to become famous in this world or to become a household name is through the Zionist media. A lot of people don't take that into account, Go watch Max Spiers' research and the way he presents himself, and just ask yourself, how did this guy even get any attention? You think if I got off tomorrow, I would get a news story? Of course I wouldn't, So why did they put out the news story of Max Spiers? Because Max Spiers, his theories are propaganda that they want out there. They want people believing that the New World Order is run by shapeshifters, reptilians. They refer to him as a conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy theorist has the gematria of 93 like propaganda. If you missed the video I put out this past summer on that progressive commercial they were playing a lot, they still play it. You'll still see this on TV where they're making fun of conspiracy theory. They're playing recordings forwards and back. In the commercial for progressive, they're using lively little locksmith. Lively little locksmith. They keep saying that over. Look, lively little locksmith equals 93. The commercial's making fun of conspiracy theorists. They're using a recording, playing it forwards and back. Recording 93 like propaganda. This girl's name Flo. F-L-O 33. That number of masonry. Oh yeah, and I decided to put in lively little locksmith now that we're aware of reverse gematria, forwards and back, and it equals 123 like conspiracy. Making fun of conspiracy theorists is this commercial, lively little locksmith. And, of course, 93, also the reflection of 39. Max Spiers dead at 39, the conspiracy theorist, on the perfect date. Remember, the Zionists worship the number 93. The occult religion, Thelema, has magic with the K. You know? And then his research also focuses on the Nazis, you know. See, I mean, this is just what, if you understand what's really going on, you just see how it's all contrived. The Zionist Jews have been planted in people's minds by controlling media and all else that they do, world governments, you know, publishing companies. They have put it in the minds of the masses that the most evil thing to ever happen to this world were the Nazis. So here's Max Spiers, you know, talking about the Nazis, their evil research. In truth, people, if you get out there in this world, you'll find out that some of the greatest minds in this world come out of Germany. I don't know what it is with the German people, but they're brilliant. The smartest man I ever met, he's just a little bit older than me, German. There's a reason that they brought over so many German scientists at the end of World War II, and I don't think it has to do with evil. I think it has to do with the fact that the best minds, for whatever reason, are coming out of Germany. But anyway, this is just more Zionist propaganda, focusing on Nazis and evil, shapeshifters. How about let's focus on the real evil of this world, the Zionist Jews. You know what I mean? Max Spiers, this is who he worked for as a puppet. You know, just playing his little part. His work doesn't point any fingers at the Zionists or Israel, like most popular conspiracy channels. MK Ultra is also brought up in his research. MK Ultra and reverse ordinals 93, you know, our conspiracy theorist number. This past summer, I got to meet a person in Seattle at a group discussion, people seeking and speaking truth, and she said she was raised in a family where MK Ultra experiments were conducted on her from a young age. You know, her family treated her like a pawn because she was a female. And it was really interesting to listen to. She essentially explained how they condition you so that you have certain triggers, so that they can just signal certain things and it'll make certain things happen in your behavior. They want to make you cry all of a sudden. They've conditioned something in you so they can control when you cry, etc. She explained a lot of things. She pretty much made it sound like she had been programmed as if she was a computer, and the people who programmed her always had complete control over her emotional and mental state. So, you know, that's the most that I've seen in person learning about MK Ultra. There's a lot of information out there about MK Ultra. Some people say it's completely bogus. The woman I met, though, this past year in Seattle who spoke about MK Ultra, she seemed very sincere. And, you know, I didn't doubt what she was saying. I just thought it was interesting, and I took it in, and I said, wow, it's sick to think that, like, people's own families are doing this to their children. But, of course, we know families do sick things to their children. I used to work in a group home a decade before, and, you know, I got to meet a lot of children who their parents had done very awful things to. And that's why they were living in a group home. But anyway, this Max Spiers guy, he mixes in a lot of truth. You know, NWO, pharmaceutical companies. It's just that, like all shills, it gets ruined with the disinfo. not focusing on who the real culprits are, blaming it on shapeshifters. Stuff that's just nonsensical. Stuff that makes the truth community look like morons, just like the flat earth theory, which is also sponsored propaganda, meant to discredit us, meant to distract us, meant to divide us. This part right here about how he believes 2 million Americans are involved in the MK Ultra, you know what I honestly think in terms of mind control for the American populace? I think it's just all the television. The TV controls the minds of the masses. When I used to work in that group home, there's a lot of children that live there that have behavioral problems that cannot be addressed by any means. You can give these children tranquilizer horse pills all day and it doesn't chill them out. But you put them in front of the TV, man, they'll just sit right there with their eyes glued to it. That's when you start to realize just how powerful the TV is. Work with kids with severe behavioral problems. and I'll say there's some kids with severe behavioral problems that don't care about the TV either. You know, their mind can't focus on anything. But a lot of these kids, you can give them pills all day, which is sick too. I hate giving little kids pills, but this kind of stuff goes on in the group homes. But you'll see how those pills won't have any effect on these children's behavior. But the TV, it'll chill them right out. TV is real mind control. Like Richard Nixon said, if it's not on the TV, the American people don't believe it. So black magicians rule the world, you know, I would say those are the Zionists, the Kabbalists, doing things by the numbers. And sometimes I wonder if doing things by the numbers has some subliminal impact on the masses that makes it so hard for them to see through the obvious, as is the case with the majority of the people in this world. He thinks a lot of the world leaders are reptiles, reptilians. He thinks he was also put in this IBIS project from a young age. IBIS has the Gematria of 39, just like the age he died at. And just for the record, they love to use that word project. Project, word with 33 and 39 in reverse. IBIS shares 33 and 39. So his work, I mean, it comes back to Nazis, shapeshifters, reptilians. It's just, it means his research comes back to something that will throw you off the point. The people who run this world, who are responsible for the wrongdoing, it's undeniable, it's very clear. Again, it's the Zionist Jews. It's the people who run this government, who run the New World Order, who run international banking, who run international media. Very clear. He says something big is going on down in Dulce, New Mexico. Thought the Gematria of Dulce, New Mexico was interesting. 156, number bringing us back to 33. The UFO sightings, the nuclear test down in New Mexico, all on the 33rd parallel. Whole lot of 33 in the 47th state, New Mexico. So anyway, just wanted to put out this video. It's hard, truth seeker, you know. The majority of the world doesn't care about truth, doesn't take any time to research. As soon as something new crosses their way, they just dismiss it. But what's so sad is the people who do care and who research, they get sucked into all these false traps, you know? Look at how many YouTube channels talk about shapeshifters and reptilians and flat earth theory. Just all this obvious bullshit if you have more than 80 IQ points. Meanwhile, you can't find many that are spreading the knowledge I've been putting out. The Gematria, which is undeniable. I mean, look at all the videos made about Max Spiers' death. How many people covered the significance of 39 and the date he died on? 0. And, I mean, this tells you all you need to know, really. So I don't know what it is with people. They'd rather let their minds obsess and fascinate on bullshit, stuff that can't be proven, stuff that there's no evidence for, but a very sound, well-researched concept, which I've promoted, you know, most people don't care about that. They think that's ridiculous. So I don't know, Truth Seeker. It's going to have to take a small group of us who are intelligent, who work together to get something done in this world. The majority of people, they're not going to help out. They don't care, or they're too stupid to help. And, just for the record, I've been promoting this website, All for Truth, and I said people can come there and they can discuss any topic they want. They can discuss if they think that the world's run by shapeshifters, they can come there and do that. I almost feel like maybe that's not the right approach. I don't mean to be a dictator and to say certain topics are off limits, but it's like people need to be guided. It's almost like people do need a dictator to show them what the way is. They need an honest dictator. It just seems that humanity is just too stupid to guide themselves. And as sad as that is to say, it seems true. People are just too stupid. They need guidance. They need to be guided by the right people. And unfortunately, in this world, they are guided, but they're guided by the very wrong sources. And there's not a lot of right people living in the world. But just for anyone who looked into this Max Spiers and thought his research was great, I don't get it. Down below, I'll link his longest conference. Just watch it. He gets up on the stage. He seems people get nervous. But, if you know your material, if you're passionate about your material, you should be able to go out there and spit it. And say it with confidence. Not, I think the world is run by shapeshifters and it's divide and conquer. That was Max Spiers, you guys, his most attended press conference. And everybody at the time was blown up. Zach, you got to look into this Max Spiers guy. He was on some cutting edge research. No, he wasn't. There's no cutting edge research with this guy. Just distraction. Just nonsense. That's why I'm going nuts, because people are more into the nonsense than the real research. I just did that radio show, that 3-hour Gematria debate, and I saw that their next episode they did was on this Max Spiers death. And it seems like they were talking about Max Spiers as if he was the truth. He's not, Truth Seeker. Until next time.